So hello, I'm Delphine. I'm here today to represent Sense Art. I am a white woman with blonde hair tied back, and I am wearing a red t-shirt and a grey jacket.
Hi, my name's Seema Gonsai. I'm a dance film filmmaker. I've been working with Sense for the past 4 years independently. And I am a short Indian lady with short brown hair, and I'm wearing a green top and a green dress. I'm going to hand over to Delphine, who can tell you more about Sense.
So Seema and myself will be reflecting on the process towards creating our Screendance film, Moving Portraits, What It Means to Be Me. During the filming process, I was one of the assistant dance artists, and I supported during the filming days. During the actual event showcasing the film, I was front of house and led the evaluation process. And today I'm here as a Sense Arts representative. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you. So about Sense, what is Sense? So Sense is a leading charity which supports people with complex disabilities. We strive to create opportunities and communities to ensure that no one is left out of life. We work across England, Wales and Northern Ireland to run 100 services, and we have 120 charity shops. Sense was founded in 1995 when 2 families joined forces to advocate for their deafblind children to get better support. In the decades since, Sense has developed expertise in working with people with complex disabilities who may communicate and experience the world in a non-traditional sense or non-traditional way, and they may have higher levels of care and support needs which need to be fulfilled to help them to reach their potential. Creativity and a focus on what is possible are part of what makes our approach distinctive at Sense. Thank you. So Sense is a social care charity with a clear arts and wellbeing strand. So Sense, we are arts, we are social care. So we are dedicated to empowering people with complex disabilities to lead creative lives. How do we do this? We deliver accessible programs that give everyone the time and space to take part. People with complex disabilities are at the heart of everything we do and inform our principles of inclusion. We run a national program of dance, music and visual arts across the country to a range of groups, and we support artists, practitioners, creative organisations, teachers and support staff who are interested in making accessible, creative and artistic workshops, events, exhibitions which are accessible to deaf, blind and disabled people. So last year, people with complex disabilities accessed our dance sessions in Birmingham, and they worked towards a series of dance films. These sessions were put together to create the Screendance, Moving Portraits, What Does It Mean to Be Me? And the work was funded by the Arts Council and Royal Court. Filming took place at St Touchface Piers, which is our Birmingham hub, and they were choreographed by Lisa Simpson, who is Sense's associated artist for dance, and were directed by Seema Gonsai. Who's right here? So moving portraits captures and shares the physical stories of people with complex disability, and the films were presented during the Birmingham 2022 festival. Moving portraits was inspired by the creativity and movements of the people that we support. And this way of working follows on from the success of our first award-winning Screendance film called Suspended Motion. So about the project, so there are 6 short dance films within Moving Portraits that explore access and the answer to the question, what does it mean to be me, from the perspectives of someone with lived experience of a complex disability. The films were shown last September at a relaxed screening at the Rep Theatre, which is Birmingham, in celebration of the Commonwealth Games. The team experimented with different types of access to ensure everyone in the film could experience themselves on the screen. This also enabled the work to be experienced by a wide range of people. So during the performance and on the actual day of the sharing, I was outside the space meeting and greeting audience members and taking them down to the room. Once in the room, there was an audio description of the space, and there were different seating options to choose from. There were sub-packs and some other technology there called Ouija boards for the audience members to wear. There was a British Sign Language interpreter in the space and audio descriptions and captions to accompany the film. I will now hand over to Seema to talk about the filming process.
Well done, Barbara. Not quite sure how to follow that. So I'm a Screendance filmmaker, and just in a nutshell, what is Screendance? So Screendance is where you're able to tell stories through movement. You're able to tell any story, any portrait of a person. And by using movement, you really get a sense of the emotion and expression behind the story, just told in a very different way. It's non-verbal and it's told through movement. To make a Screendance film, you combine 3 elements, which is music, dance, and cinematography. And you create something wonderful making those kind of films. They're usually short films. And so I came to Sense once, and I used to be a dancer, I make dance films now, and I saw some dancers showing us, their wonderful kind of short pieces of dance. And I was like, as a filmmaker, I was like, we've got to capture this on film. It's like, this is like fantastic, because each one of the people in those that were showing us the films, we either had experienced deafblindness or experienced a complex disability. And the way that they moved was so unique to their bodies and their personalities and their portraits that I was like, I've got to make this into a film. Then Sense kind of came back to me and said, yeah, we understand why you want to make this into a film, because you want everybody to see these stories. But actually, the people in the film have got to be able to experience the stories too. So if you can do that, then come back to us. And I was like, right, okay, this is like, I was thinking, okay, to be able to do that, how can we make this film experience accessible to the people in the film? So I was like, okay, we could use captioning, we could use audio description. And then another colleague of mine said, have you thought about using vibration? Because if you go to a cinema, you can go to a 4D cinema, you can feel what's on the screen. But what's very different about these films is that it's not like an entertainment type of film that you're watching, i.e. a roller coaster going, you're feeling that and you're going to the cinema to experience that. These films is all about capturing the stories of the people. The content itself is informed by the people in the film. So the stories, the portraits and all of that. So actually then we thought of using subpacks as a way, and vibrational tech as a way of giving that additional layer to enhance what was in the film. So how did we do that? Well, it was a very complicated process. Knowing that making a film, as we usually would make a film, we would script it, we would film it, and then we would use the editing facilities to put the film together. With this type of process of filmmaking, we were thinking of all of those elements from the very beginning. So we're thinking of the person's story, who's integral to the whole piece. What is it are they saying? How are they experiencing the world? How can I capture that? And so that's where Lisa Simpson and the dance team came together, and we had a group of rehearsals, about 6, with different groups across the city that used Sense as a service, and we created workshops and we were able to draw out those stories. The next step from that was then to film them, and so filming them with the idea that not only would the movement bring the story to life, but the cinematography would also move with the person to bring the story to life. The audio description would be told in a very artistic way that again enhanced the story. And then the captioning then is shown in a way that doesn't actually get in the way of the story, so to speak. So we're thinking about all of those elements before we even start filming. And so as a director, when I'm filming all of these various different things, I've got all of those ideas in my head. But integral to all of that was also the vibration. So if you're thinking about vibration, taking away the sound, taking away the visual, how can we, how can that person experience that story? Well, they'll experience it through the rhythm and the pace of the camera, and also the rhythm and the pace of the editing, and also the rhythm and the pace of the movement. So it's bringing all those things together. So whilst filming all these things, we planned out how the vibration would work, how the audio description would work, how the camera movements would work, and then how the story would work. So I'm just going to hand back over to Delphine very quickly to kind of explain how those dance sessions came together to draw out those stories.
Yeah, so this will make more sense when you actually see the film. It will come together as one, I'm sure. But so these are not your typical dance films, and it's all about zoning into the person's world and showing life from their perspective. And we're so grateful that we were able to show a full range of people, full range of bodies and movements and experiences within these 6 films. So, and this is also about increasing the visibility and profile of the people that we support in an authentic nature. So there are 6 films, as we said. So there are solos, which allow us to see, so there's a solo of a young lady called Beth, and she's one of the assistant dance artists. So we see it from her perspective, live from her perspective. How would she answer the question, what does it mean to be me? And how does she show that in her body and really capture the audience attention? We have a film with a young lady, Kira, who is lying on a beanbag, and that's like her safe space, and she really enjoys it when she's guided and has massage and contact and touch. And really interestingly, on the film, she's on a blue beanbag, and when she came to watch herself in the film, she chose to lie on a blue beanbag. So it was really interesting to see that connection and preference and just her personality shine through what she did. And there's also a duet with Joe and Becky, and Joe has chosen like a slow dance style, but he is leading from within, so all the movement choices in the film are very much Joe's ideas, And it's great to just give him that platform and go, what do you want to do? Because it's all centred around him. So that's great. And then we've got two young lads, Musa and Abdul, who are very cheeky and very feisty, very playful energy. And like how you captured that on the film is just amazing. But you will see, and they work on mirroring and almost elements of chase and just that playful nature. And they're teenagers, and they're allowed to be teenagers within this. So the storylines, as Seema said, are directed from their movement and their perspective, and that's how the films are portrayed.
Brilliant.
Would you like to carry on?
Yeah. So I'm just now going to, just going to talk a little bit about the vibration. So as part of the filming process, we also had a composer who was with us for each one of the filming days. Now that composer was kind of playing lots of different types of music for the people within their films to kind of choose and respond to and dance to, but always he was having to think about how can I turn this sound and their movements, how can I translate their movements into vibration? So obviously with vibration, with these packs and other vibration kind of technology, they kind of respond to really low frequencies, much lower frequencies. So we had two scores really. One score that was the score that was for the film itself, and then we had another score that was purely for vibration as well. So you could actually, you don't need to see the films, you don't need to hear the films, you could feel the films. We did lots of tests with the packs to see how, without looking at this, without seeing anything and hearing anything, how would that feel? Isolation of just the vibration, and then we tested everything together. The idea of this particular project was that we really wanted it to be screened in a scenario like this, where everybody could be in the same space and where we could actually say that we've made a film for everybody. So we have here, Kira is just sitting here. She's got her headphones on. You can't see the beanbag, the famous beanbag. But she's sitting here and she was not looking at the screen. She was not listening to the sound. She was purely holding on to the pack because for her, that's how the communication was within the room with the screen. But she was in the room with everybody else. Behind her, you'll see her parents are there, her carers are there, and then the rest of the audience was all around, dotted around. The idea is that the vibration tech had one particular score being sent to it, and then there was speakers in the middle of the room that had the score of the film played through it, and then we had the audio description played through different speakers. So this type of project allows itself to be experienced in all those three ways through different outlets. But for the purpose of today, we've actually combined those three for you to experience that, because we're not in a kind of an installation environment. But yeah, our previous film, which was Suspended Motion, the vibration was a direct relation to translation of the movement. So it wasn't, we didn't have the score, we had more of a movement score. So we're still experimenting with how we can turn film into vibration, and we're trying out lots of different things. So yeah, I think now we'd really like to demonstrate the films so you can have a feel of them and you can also watch them. We've got two with us today, so we're going to show you three films, and we'd like two volunteers first of all to come and have a feel of them as well as watching and hearing them, and then we'll play them again so you can have another opportunity to do it. And when we play it again, please feel free to ask us any questions about the process and how we put it together. With the sound and with the composition, it's from the very beginning of actually just planning the film that we're thinking to ourselves, how are we going to embed that in? And so the composer had quite a big task actually, because it's like, how can I make a film that represents that person's portrait and also the type of music that the person in the film also likes. So we can't just put like, films that music that they wouldn't dance to. And so the best way of doing it was to actually create 2 tracks. So one track that was for the music and then one track that was for the vibration. But the vibration, it just went through lots and lots of tests. It was trying to kind of emulate the pace of the dance itself, the movements. If somebody puts their hand up, what does he do with the frequency to show that someone's putting their hand up? What can I do with the frequency for someone like Kira, who did minimal movement, but then, with something like that, we spoke with the composer and I said, well, as on camera, what I'd like to do is slowly walk towards her to reveal her and to reveal the person that she is. So with that in mind, then the composer said, well, through vibration, what would really work is if I could put a very low tone that rises, just increases in tone. So the 2 are kind of going together then in that sense, and then the music at the same time is being scored. So it's lots of decisions like that we make, and each person's different, aren't they?
So different. So much thought behind every scene, and
every movement has its own kind of aesthetic to look at, but also has its own sound, vibration. You've just got to think about all those levels at the same time. And then you go home and fall asleep straight away because you're like, it's too many things to think about. But that's how it. But I mean that the composers just spent many weeks and weeks and weeks just testing and watching and working with frequencies at the same time. So.
No, good, because that is almost the aim to it and what we're trying to get across. Because if you are in the audience deafblind, not sure that you're in a performance space, not sure what's going on, you can instantly connect with the idea, well, there's movement going on because I want to move. I don't know how that looks, but it's making me feel X, Y, and Z, and I feel connected to what's going on.
That's one of our. We really enjoy working with Kira actually. So, and also like behind the scenes with those films, we actually only had like in some scenarios 40 minutes to film the whole thing. I think in some maybe even less than that, 20 minutes. So it was literally lots of decisions being made every second that we had, because it's a long process. If you have Kira for 20 minutes, that's all you've got. So you you go home and you go to sleep. But yeah, it's very very short time to kind of capture them. Yeah, we're really pleased. So our very first film, Suspended Motion, was it before COVID? Yeah. Before COVID, went all around the world actually. So that's one of the things about why dance film is so amazing, because it can go to film festivals, and because there's no language, it can go into any film festival. So that particular film did really, really well. It got into 8 festivals and won several awards because of the combination of the approach. But this one, we've just been nominated by Arts Council England. We've been shortlisted for digital inclusion. So we're really, really pleased about that. But it is. We need you to vote for us, basically. So I know why you've asked that question, because you're like, see, we're asking everybody to vote for the project. So we're really pleased about that, because finally, like after years of kind of experimenting with this work, we're being recognised for what we're doing, and it's an honour to be, nominated, and if you would like to vote for our project, no pressure, you can find out on my Twitter, Seema_Gonsai. You can just see it there, and also Arts Council have probably shared it. So,
and it will be on the Sense Twitter.
Be on the Sense Twitter as well.
Yes.
That will be released from Monday onwards. So yeah, we'd love it to be kind of out there, recognised for what it is. Great. Okay, so I think that brings us to a close, and thank you very much for coming to view the work with us. And yeah, we hope to continue making this work, and we'll let you know when it's out there, and we'll let you know if we ever have an installation here as well. So, which is what we'd really like.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the people over there going, please. We would really love that. That's the next step for us, is to have that installation scenario across galleries across the UK.
And get the work out there. Share.
Share the work. And yeah, in talks with BBC at the moment as well, as to how things can be translated in this way. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.